To say what I think about this, and do is here. Men don't see at night. In the darkness, you could be dealing with a hippo. So things are shrouded in mystery in darkness. Yeah, okay. You can't quite figure them out.
Okay.
That's what, yeah.
Darkness brings mystery. We have very many things to discuss with you as the government spokesman. And I want us to start on the issue of Mradi and Bakasi. What happened there, the blast, and as you can see in the headline in the paper today, right? It says, anger as hundreds stare death in the face, right? The blast that happened there, a number of deaths so far reported. Many people injured. A number of deaths so far reported. Many people injured. The disaster response, the response that we've now seen again from the government in terms of the various agencies concerned, NEMA, EPRA, the county government of Nairobi. But where are the gaps, Isaac?
Yeah, first and foremost, I think it's good to say from the word go, the government extends its condolences, gives its condolences to the 6 confirmed persons who have been passed on for 4 at KNH and 2 in other hospitals, and also the fact that over 280 people really were taken to various hospitals, and 761 families were affected. As at yesterday, 28 families had been displaced, but they have since left the social hall because we were given some money to go and pay rent elsewhere. Some 62 small businesses, the Mamboga businesses, were destroyed or razed down. So it's really, really pathetic. Going to the hospitals and seeing the most affected being referred to KU referral and also KNH. I would want to tell you, Eric, it's quite sad because some of the scars have disfigured their bodies, and Ndu is here. For men, maybe not, and I think maybe as well, we all are the same. But maybe it would affect women more, the way they now will look like going forward, because of the stigma around scars. It's terrible. It's terrible. And, the challenge of this inferno is the fact that people are inhaling gas, so they could also get internal damages. Then the other thing is the issue of the fact that we anticipate by now there will be many who will be going back because of the kidney issues, because the skin, helps to discharge waste. It's 20% of the body, of course, with the help of the kidney as well. So those are the challenges. Of course, the whole issue is unacceptable because this Maxis company had applied for a license. EPRA had refused to give them licenses, but you can see NEMA was compromised, and the 4 people have been named who, of course, are culpable. And then eventually, this is the result of it. Of course, it was an illegal gas filling plant. I could see the lawyer of the so-called suspect, who has already, showed up, trying to create doubt, that it's the lorry that was, whatever, offloading the gas was trespassing. That's not the case. I mean, when you go there, you find a lot of huge trailers full of these cylinder tanks. That then, of course, are used to transport this gas. And it's really, really unfortunate that at this time and age, you could have this sheer greed by individuals to really circumvent justice. As a government spokesman, I will not, be on this national radio and pretend that everything was working well. No. There was a lapse. There was a lack, of course, issues of corruption and compromise around the officials who should have actually done proper oversight against this, this illegal gas filling plant in the middle of a residential area.
Okay. Yeah. I think it lends, just that lends to the deeper conversation here, that in terms of what the position is when it comes to disaster management in the country, but on the other hand, when it comes to these processes whereby approvals are given by government entities for things that shouldn't be. And so what is the check? What is the oversight? What is the security that Kenyans are being assured of that these things, because if there's one, there could be 100. What is the security or guarantee that there is a hands-on approach to making sure that things like this do not occur? Because the truth of the matter is, had this explosion not happened on Thursday, the thing would still continue. It would still be there, and still be running illegally.
I think the whole issue is for Kenyans now to take this opportunity to say where this is happening, because there's a special focus based on this tragedy. Sometimes government is spread too thinly because there are competing priorities. And unfortunately, because of this incident, then there's a special focus on what such plans can do. So it's good the Kenyans to report to IPRA, to the local authorities, so that they are mapped out and action is taken now to avert that crisis. And I think I've seen some petition from a certain area here in Nairobi of the same. We want to see more of this. Let's not keep quiet, because it looks very far-fetched, so that then government can have reason to act. Yeah.
Let me ask you, you're saying the government is spread too thin. Well, the government is spread across the country. The government starts from Nyumba Kumi to a village headman, to a sub-chief, to a chief, going all the way up. And even at county level, you have other people. Then you have the enforcement agencies with their officers all the way to the ground. When you say that now is the time for citizens to tell the government, I fail to understand what you exactly mean, Bwana Spokesman.
What I mean
Are you saying that the structures of government have failed?
No. What I mean is that there are so many things that government is supposed to be doing at any given point in time.
Yes.
And there are too many actors. The people who are employed by government, for example, Eric, who earn a salary from government in the public service over 900,000, I think 903,000. 77,000 who are the typical civil servants. The rest are in the public service, including teachers and police and all of us. So it's a huge behemoth. It's a huge undertaking. And at that point in time, then people work in silos. So you find the other person doesn't know what the other one is doing. So my role, for example, as a government spokesman, is coordinate that kind of communication, because everyone of the agencies or state departments will be communicating based on their own views. Like that hippo we are talking about in the dark, where you can only describe what you are seeing or what you're dealing with. So when now the focus of the whole of government is on this tragedy, then there's concerted efforts.
Yeah.
And remember, these individuals that you have mentioned or agencies don't deal with a single issue. They may be dealing with a plethora of issues. But now we have an opportunity for us to say, what is our stand in this way? How can we, augment our, security measures, our processes, so that then such things do not happen?
I think.
However, Eric. There is no legislation against character. When somebody decides to compromise the best of intentions and sell it, I was reading the Bible today in the book of Genesis, I think it's chapter 24, about how Esau sold his birthright, So if then you decide to sell it off in exchange for some little money, then the result is this individuals whose lives have been changed forever, and it's not acceptable.
But it's not a one-off thing, Bwana Spokesman. It's not a one-off thing. That's for somebody to make a decision to do this or to go against what is supposed to be done, that they have come and found that it's either common practice or that it has become systemic. And I think that's the thing that we are talking about. When we talk about government being spread too thin, or we're saying that somebody has decided to go against what should be, it's because they found something that has been accepted. And I think what the position is on how to root out this conditioning of just recurrent bad manners, I think, is the issue. What's the position on that? Because this one just happened to blow up. There are others. I'm sure we know there are others that are disasters in waiting because of pre-approvals that should not have been given, because of the systemic mismanagement and corruption and just horrible, horrible ways of doing things. We had a conversation about city county just an hour before you. What is the position in terms of weeding out this bad behavior, because it is coming out towards the loss of life, as we have seen?
I think the whole issue is something higher and bigger, Ndu. And I'm happy that you've asked that question. People are no longer patriotic. And my office is it has something we are, cobbling up together called the Uzalendo Initiative or the Uzalendo Campaign. Because people become more united when they feel there's a common sense of purpose. And that is what is deterrent more than even a piece of legislation, for example. And so we need to keep on talking about it. And you, the members of the Fourth Estate, you have a platform. Spice FM is extremely, famous. You've actually revolutionized it to become a premier station where serious issues are discussed in this show. And so we speak to the hearts of the people, not just the minds, because it makes logic. It makes logic that one can make money out of a situation. And it's sometimes very interesting how public officials would openly ask for you for a bribe as if it's their own birthright. So it's a culture that has become extremely endemic in our society. But the only way is to show people to be more patriotic. Wakuwe na uzalendo na utaifa. That is the only way we are going to change the situation. Of course, you will argue about people being arrested, being taken to court, but we know that necessarily may not sometimes be the solution, because we have had people who have gotten anticipatory bails, or like in the situation of this gentleman or the owner of this company, he actually was taken to court and he was fined only 500,000, yet the law provided for 10 million. So again, you can see there's some compromise there with regards to that outcome. So that's the problem. We really have a very, very, very poor values, and that is why the drafters of the Constitution, came up with national values and principles. There are actually 17 of them. But I think for me the most powerful one, Ndu, is patriotism. And I'm not saying this to escape from responsibility. I'm just trying to show that there's something bigger and higher, something philosophical, something that is overarching, that can actually make somebody make a decision that is right without them having to look around who to give instructions, to get instructions from.
There's got to be an incentive, all right? So that people can see that there is example and it pays to do the right thing. Right now, people say it pays to do the wrong thing because you escape, with the little things. So right now, if we say that we tell the public, if you see anything that looks like an illegal establishment that is doing gas refilling, please report to the nearest officer. Those officers are aware of these installations. The Honorable Moses Kuria, Cabinet Secretary, tweeted of one that's next to a police station. Obviously, the police must have known. And if they didn't know, they have all the right and powers to go and inspect and check. And they know who to report to if there's an issue, even if the government is operating in silos, which goes against the mantra of government, the one whole government approach. It basically is pointing to something. And I agree with you when you say it's pointing to an issue of patriotism, but it's also pointing to an issue of a system that has serious cracks. And if we do not accept that our system has serious cracks, then I don't think we can solve it. A system with such cracks that 4 officers can immediately be pointed at and say, if we just do a casual investigation by a board, we can establish there was a flouting of procedure in the issuance of this license. Just a casual top-level investigation. That's a failure by our system.
And if that is the case here, and it's the case because there was that fire. If there was no fire, this would not be a discussion. So it begs the question, what else is seeping through the cracks? What other impending danger is there? Something that we are not quite seeing, but it's lurking and waiting to strike at the right moment. And I ask this question, Mheshimiwa, because of a simple reason. In In the last 2 years, we've had very many strange fires in this city. Places like Kikomba, it's like periodic. You'd actually think that there's a tradition of Kikomba burning down. You suddenly hear that the industry of individuals who have businesses along the roadside creating furniture, you find the whole lot burnt. And I'm thinking, really, how long have they been there? It's now burning down. Then you go back into history. There is a pipeline fire, there is Sinai, there is JKIA, and you're thinking, my goodness, these are other many, aren't they? Because we have other cities in this country. You don't hear of such calamities. So what is it? When you say patriotism, I would agree with you, and you're looking at the outcome. But I'm saying, if there are cracks, those cracks are not getting fewer, they're not getting less, they're getting more. And unfortunately, whenever a crack is envisioned or when it becomes public, people lose lives.
I think it's a difficult conversation, and I hear you. And people who have to deal with this on a daily basis, you know, like you come, you it's like this is an accountability platform. I come here as a government spokesman to speak on behalf of government, but I belabor the pain because, you know, it goes all the way to even how we elect our officials, you know. Do we have very high standards? You know, there's a conversation that somebody was giving me, was telling me about on Sunday. And he was telling me, oh, you have a neighbor there. That neighbor was telling us that you really were popular on the ground, but because you cannot steal yourself into being elected, then that is the reason why. So I was wondering, okay, who is this? I don't even know the person, the name. But it is not to play clean, but it's true. It's true what you have said very clearly. We seem to glorify those that can do whatever they want and they get away with it. I think the culture of impunity has been there for a very long time. And unfortunately, not sounding like a preacher, but the law does not cure this problem because people don't have a way of circumventing the law. So there must be some higher kind of inspiration that makes people to obey and to follow certain tenets without them being compelled by somebody coming behind them with a whip. But then, of course, it's also true. If you go to China, for example, they'll tell you the moment the corruption went down is when people were executed publicly. That is a time when people said, I don't want to face this embarrassment. And they will show you even how, you know, one official, I forget his name, who had this very nice Rolls Royce vehicles and living large, and how his whole family was actually finished. And that way, then they've been able to build a very robust state. Not to say that that should be the case, but suddenly I actually wonder whether sometimes this idea of copy-pasting practices from other jurisdictions is not counterproductive, because at our level of development now, we are having a situation where everything that is done, and including by the president, is questionable. Somebody will go to court and countermand and change at presidential directives. And then that means then it becomes a circus.